काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सिटी है जुगडीडी, काफ़ी पीसफुल है, लोग बहुत ज़्यादा हैं डेफिनेटली, बट आई कैन सी broad roads, I can see huge footpaths, and I can see less of traffic. The walking people are more, but the vehicles are pretty less on the road, so that is a good part. I'm just coming from the Orcall studio, and I got a souvenir from the Orcall studio and met Mr. Robert, who's been doing the ceramic sculpture work from 1987. And now I'm heading towards UAZ Ambulance Graveyard. This is definitely not on people's itinerary, है काफ़ी secret और hidden gem type है in Zugdidi, and these are something which I wanted to see from a long time. I'll tell you more about UAZ Ambulance Graveyard once I reach there.
The UAZ Graveyard or the UAZ vans are located at Zugdidi's main hospital on Constantine Gamshakhurdi Street. Roughly it's around 2.5 kilometers south from the center of the town or from the city center, and it takes around 30 minutes to walk there. You can use public transport as well, bus number 1 or bus number 2, but I preferred walking because it's very pleasant walking on the Gamshakhurdi Street and Z Gamshakhurdi Avenue. They are both completely flat with plenty of beautiful odd style houses and yachts to admire on the way. These houses are amazing piece of architecture and infrastructure, and you can also follow an alternative route to the hospital down Stalin Street. Approaching from town, the vans are clearly visible from the main road. You will see them as soon as you pass by the old concrete hospital sign and a colorful mosaic wall. They are visible on Google Maps too.
Guys, I am at the UAZ Ambulance Graveyard. UAZ stands for Ulyanovsky Automobilny Zavod. That was tough to remember, that's a Russian name. So the story of this place, this is a very sad place, just like the Skaltubo sanatoriums. This is also a very haunted kind of a place, and this is a ambulance graveyard, and these ambulances are from the Soviet era. So the story says that when the German army encroached Russia and the USSR region, they moved their biggest manufacturing company, automobile manufacturing company, from Moscow to Ulyanovsk, which is in Russia, and they started manufacturing a lot of aeroplanes and helicopters and minivans and minibuses, and these are one of them. In 1967, the production of these minivans, which were used for the medical purposes and were nicknamed as tablet cars, which is for pills, because they look like bread loaf or pills, and these are completely vandalized and have been decommissioned. And this is a graveyard in Zugdidi. There are around 14 vans, and they only represent horror.
The vans are parked outside in an area that is completely open with no fences, and the gates or security post is there, but I don't see any security guard really minding or doing their job. And you can very easily walk in, taking care to step over the cattle crate and move freely around, observe the van standing. Do keep in mind that this is a working hospital. There is a bus stop near the car park, so you will see staff and other people coming and going. I definitely got a few curious looks when I was there, and there were a lot of people hovering around and was curiously looking at me that what I am actually doing there. And at the end, no one really approached me or questioned me. That's a good thing, because I was a little scared roaming around that area. I really wish that someone had approached me though, so that I could have asked them few questions, but that really didn't happen. The car park and the ambulances are clearly government owned, so please be responsible. Don't remove anything from the site and don't leave any trash or litter around the place. Already the place is really littered by the locals, but I feel that this particular property should be preserved because it's a part of the history. It's a Soviet history, and it should not be trashed or littered or damaged any further. There are 14 vans here in total. There used to be 15, not sure about what really happened to one of the van, but it's all abandoned and each in a various state of decay, much like the sanatoriums in Skaltubo. You can check out my vlog on Skaltubo wherein I have shown the different sanatoriums around Skaltubo, which is kind of a coast town, Soviet era coast town. Do check out that video. And also pretty similar to the old cable car stations in Chiatura, and these vehicles have been almost completely stripped off of anything of value. Only one of the vans still has its speedometer and fuel gauge intact on the dashboard. Some of the ambulances are in slightly better condition, so you can make out how they might have looked inside when they were still functioning and running. In the back compartment, you can clearly see there are chairs and folding tables, mats, where the paramedics must have sat, and the equipments they must have used. Tablet cars have a few interesting features. They have 4 doors, 2 at the front, 1 at the right hand side, plus a double wing door at the back, a fuel port on either side to fill up 2 separate tanks, and most curiously, there is a 78 horsepower engine which is positioned in the front between the driver and the passenger seats. The UAZ 452s in Zugdidi have rectangular rear lights, which means they were produced after 1979, and the earlier models have small round lights. They are all a uniform grey-blue colored with a red strip, a simple cross insignia, and 112, which is Georgia's emergency number, painted on the side and front. The vans have clearly been vandalized, with the windshield smashed, engine parts wrenched out, and there is nothing of value left in these vans. It's very important that if you are at all visiting this particular area or the UAZ Graveyard, do take care when walking around the areas, as there are a lot of broken glasses and other trash on the ground. Also, it's not a very hygienic place to be around. Like other Soviet-era throwbacks in Georgia, there is a feeling of immense nostalgia and something desperately sad about the UAZ Graveyard. And right now, standing here, I can imagine, and it's very difficult to feel that the people who traveled in these vans every day doing their job, which was saving lives, nonetheless, only one day they wake up, and one morning they wake up and realize that their whole world had been turned upside down. Georgia is a heaven for vintage car fanatics, and Nivas and Volgas are a common sight in Georgia, especially in smaller cities and towns. In fact, I saw this gorgeous classic car, GAZ M20 Pobeda, which is parked in front of a house in Zugdidi on the way to the hospital.
So these vehicles still has the manufacturer's logo. Almost every vehicle, every van does have it on the front of it, which resembles freedom and speed, and most of them also has the plus sign indicating that it's an medical vehicle. So it's a graveyard of ambulances, and I wanted to see this. This is not a tourist location, of course, but this is a piece of history, and this is something which is definitely deserve one look. And I think I have touched the piece of history, touched the Soviet era vans, medical vans from 1967. It was great visiting this place.